we would pretty much go out riding. We would ride at night because I found it safer to practice through the neighborhoods at night because you can see headlights coming way sooner. There's way less traffic, and I don't know, I just like riding at night more, mostly because I could sneak my bike out. That was really the only time I could ride. So I'm hiding my bike at Ariel's house, and it's just getting really inconvenient. Like, I gotta knock on his door and be like, hey, can you open your garage? I want to take my bike out, and he had something to do that day, so he couldn't ride, so he'd open it for me, and then I would kind of have to chill out until he got home. Like, I could be done riding, but I would still be on my bike until he got home to open the garage for me. And it got to a point where I could see that it was bothering him. It bothered me way before it bothered him, but it was bothering him, and he was just leaving his garage door unlocked, where you could just like slide it open from the outside if you knew that it was unlocked. And you know, that wasn't safe, that wasn't fair to him. He didn't sign up for that, and he still didn't mind. But I was like, you know what, I'm gonna have to park this thing at my house. So what I did was, I told a lie, you guys. I lied to my parents, and everyone knows every good lie starts out with an ounce of truth. So, told my parents, hey, look, my buddy, Colton, he just joined the Marines, and right before he joined, he bought this bike, and he doesn't want to pay for storage while he's in basic, so he was wondering if he could keep it here. And at this point, only my mom lived with me. My dad was already in Denver. So my mom was like, yeah, sure. And my dad's in the Army, so she knows all about, you know, the military life. So she just thought she was helping out a GI. So she was like, yeah, sure, he can keep it here. And my mom, bless her heart, but I could probably be doing heroin and she would not know. This old, innocent Asian lady who just thinks the world of her son. She thinks I'd never lie to her, you know, never do anything bad. And this isn't even that bad. Yeah, I went behind my parents' back, but I bought it with my own money. You know, like, I'm being safe somewhat. But, yeah, so I keep it there for a couple months, and, you know, I bought my bike with that. If you know CBRs, you know that this 600RR came with this awesome orange. It was like orange and black, you know, with a Honda wing on the side. So at the time, I hated it. Now, you know, it probably would have grown on me, but at the time, I didn't like it. You know, so what I did was, all right, I'm gonna paint the bike. And I ended up painting it. Hold on a second. I ended up painting it white. Like this color right now. So I ended up painting it white, and I'm gonna skip through the whole everything that I've done to my bike because I painted it about 4 times. One paint job only lasted a couple of days. So let me get to 6th gear real quick. Okay, that's 6. So I'm going to skip past the painting part, and this is how, so it lasted about a year and a half of me like sneaking my bike out of the garage, my own garage, and bringing it home. And it got to the point where my mom was so comfortable with it being there that I could be like, hey, Colton told me to start up his bike for him and ride it around. I'm going to go ride it around for him, because they knew I got my license. They didn't know how to bike. And my dad is less oblivious, and he's a really smart, sharp guy. You know, been in the Army for 20 years. You can't fool him. He just went along with the lie, I guess, to see how long I would go with it. At this point, he pretty much knew it was mine. So that went on for a year and a half. I hid the bike. I didn't actually hide it, but I hid the fact that it was mine for a year and a half. Can you believe that? I think that was like the longest lie I ever told. So during that time, I kept asking my dad, hey, can I get a bike? Can I get a bike? And he kept just saying no. Like, just no. Not even a good reason. So I finally asked him one more time, and he told me, he said this: look, you're living at my house, you're not paying for anything. I'm in Denver, Colorado, kind of living in the ghetto. He lived in Aurora, and if you're in the area, you know Aurora is not the best place. And if you live in Aurora, you know it's not the best place. So don't give me shit for calling it ghetto. So he's like, look, I pretty much live in the ghetto to pay for the mortgage and rent here and all my stuff here. Why should you get a toy, get a bike, you know, when you're living over there for free? And it hit me, guys. I gotta admit it. I was like, fuck. And I actually thought about selling the bike. You know, because it wasn't fair. It wasn't. So I was thinking about selling it, and I was like, I'm gonna lose so much money on it, blah, 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 okay? So I felt bad. I didn't even ride it that much at all after that. So, come to find out, not come to find out, but it was time for my sister to get married with her boyfriend she's been with for like 99 years, since high school. And I'm, I think, 21, almost turning 22 at the point. No, I'm probably 22. Because I had it a couple years before they knew it was mine. But anyways, it was my sister's wedding. And my dad's like, you have your motorcycle license. Kenny, that's my sister's husband. Kenny has his motorcycle license. Alex has his motorcycle license. I have a motorcycle license. Let's go for a groomsman ride the day before the wedding. And I was like, all right, pump. I'm going to bring, aka my friend's bike, and I'm going to tell him it's mine, but I'm going to show him that I can ride it and be safe on it. Like, this was my plan, right? So my dad's over for Denver for the wedding the day before, and I'll let this guy go. You can go. There you go. I hate people that drive timid, like, can I go? Just take the lane, motherfucker. If you're taking too long, no one's gonna let you in. But anyways, so there's gonna be a groomsman ride before the wedding, and my dad asked me, I can't say that without a list. My dad asked me if I can take my friend's bike out. He's like, yo, call your Marine friend, ask him if you can take his bike, because I don't want to pay for 2 rental bikes if you can just ride his. And I was like, yeah, legit, like, don't worry about it, he'll probably be cool. So I fake call him up. I'm like, hey man, like, we're going for this ride, it's here, I'll take care of the bike, I'll be safe, want to know if I could ride it, I'll fill it up, blah blah blah, you know, all the shit that you normally say. So I told my dad, he was cool with it. So we're going on this ride. My dad ends up renting a Harley, because he had just bought a Harley in Denver. He has a Street Glide, like 2013. It's a brand new fucking bike. His dream bike. Finally, you know, got it. Because beforehand he'd always have used bikes, and that's a different story. But he rented a bike. I went with them. And he's like, hey, if you're not comfortable in that Super Sport, I'll get you one of these Harleys. And I was like, no, like, that's fine, because I already felt bad that that bike was mine. I didn't want him spending any more money, and it was my sister's wedding, so I knew he already spent a lot of money. So I was like, no, that's fine, I'll ride his. So we end up going on this ride that was 300 miles. And I know there's a couple hardcore riders who are probably going to watch this and be like, 300 miles? That's nothing. I dare you to be 6 foot on the stock Honda CBR-C and ride 300 miles non-stop, only filling up for fuel. Okay? You're not going to have a good time. So we end up going for this ride, and halfway through, my ass, I can't say that without a list, my ass is killing me. Oh my goodness. And after we get up from eating, right, we stopped by for a little bite to eat. After we got back from eating, I sat on my bike, and my ass still hurt, and I was like, I need to get a new seat for this bike. Or, yeah, I need to get a new seat for this bike. And my dad looks at me, and he's like, why would you need to get a new seat if it's not your bike? And I skipped the part, but Early in the morning that day, I woke up and saw a piece of paper with a bunch of numbers and letters on this piece of paper, and I was like, oh my god. I knew my dad was smart, and I've been stressing out about him finding out that it's mine. So I was like, oh my god, I hope that's not my VIN number. Turns out it was my VIN number, and he called, I think, the DMV pretending to be me and got the name of the owner on the bike. So I was like, shit, you know, he knows. But he doesn't know that I know. So I had this plan of, I'm gonna call him out before he calls me out. He thinks he's smart, you know? So we get back from the restaurant, he's like, why would you need to buy a seat if it's not your bike? And I had to hit him, I had to pull out, I had to drop the pocket aces. I was like, I know that you know this isn't my bike, because I saw you have the VIN number this morning. Like, I got you, right? So he was like, yeah, like, why did you lie to me? And then I was like, I bought it. I told him the story. I was like, I bought it, you know, and then you gave me that good reason of me not having it, but I had already bought it. I went behind your back, like, I'm sorry. And, you know, he was really cool about it, because he saw me earlier, like, going on some twisties. I raced him a little bit. He saw that I knew what I was doing on the bike. And I guess the moral of the story for you guys is, if you want to get a bike, you can get a 600cc as your first bike without having your learner's permit, without never touching a dirt bike or any motorcycle before, and without never driving a manual car before, because I did it. And I'm here alive. And I'm not saying that I never had my sketchy moments, because I did. You know, but you definitely can do it. And if your parents aren't letting you get a bike, like, talk to them. Be like, hey, like, I understand you don't want me getting a bike, but why? And if they say it's dangerous, you know, pull up some statistics. You know, and if they say, well, you can have one when you pay for your own bills, just be like, hey, well, you know what? If I get this bike, like, this will be my first bill, my first payment. You know, I'm gonna build credit when I finance this bike. You know, this will be my first bill, and it will be mine, and I'll actually pay it. You know, because I want to ride so bad, I'll actually pay this bill, and it'll teach me, and I'll start picking up other bills as I go. You know, so that's my advice if you want to buy a bike. My other advice is, don't do what I did. You know, if it's really your only option, then, I mean, you definitely could, but as someone who's done it, and if you take advice from somebody who's done something, you know, as someone who's done it, I say don't do it. The close calls aren't worth it. You know, not even an accident. I didn't even, well, I did have an accident, that's another story. It was my own fault, wasn't anything major. Oh shit, sorry, my hands are kind of cold, that was a bad downshift. But, yeah, if you want a 600 bike for your first bike, you can definitely do it. And I'll make this a whole separate video on, like, is a 600cc bike a good starter bike? And I'll cover all the main topics that motovloggers cover. And if you're wondering, I'm in close to Seattle, Washington. You can probably see the signs, actually. But yeah, in Western Washington, I'm gonna start motovlogging, start showing the motovlogging world what the Northwest is about, man. Because I feel like this is a hidden gem. The Northwest, I mean, is a hidden gem. And people think that it rains here all the time. You know, it does rain a lot, but it's not, that's not what it's all about. But, alright, I'm gonna say peace out, guys. More content on the way. If you want to post a suggestion about what I should cover and my thoughts based off of my background, my backstory that I just gave you. Other than that, I'm gonna vlog as I ride, but occasionally you're gonna get one of these update videos of one of my older stories, because I'm just gonna tell all my stories in chronological order. And if something does happen, as like in right now, like in the present time stories, I'm gonna upload that, but I'm gonna name these, like, you know, past stories, or like lifetime bike stories or something. So yeah, just keep an eye out for that. But for now, I'm probably still like 15 minutes from work, so I'm gonna peace out, Everyone ride safe. Don't ride outside your skill level. You know, be nice to everyone on the road. Don't get run over by some fucking anger management road rage driver. So, alright, see you guys.